welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Deason. With me today is longtime listener, poet laureate, and Taya master Anne-Marie Young. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. So Anne-Marie, before we got started, we were chatting here, and the topic for today surrounds the idea of insomnia. And you actually mentioned that you have a cure for insomnia, but I also got the impression that it was the cause of insomnia. Does it work both ways?
Yes, children having them, not getting enough sleep for the first 7 years, and then they just exhaust you, so you can sleep like that.
So you actually learn how to turn your insomnia into a gift.
Yes, I think it's worthwhile. I think you have to try and turn everything into a gift, really, don't you?
This is true.
But
yes.
I am looking forward to finding out how to, on those days where your brain is going 24 miles an hour.
Right. Yeah. And from what our guest was telling us before we got started, this is a pretty big problem. I really did not know that it's as big as he is indicating to us. Did you know that?
I did. I've come across quite a few people who struggle to sleep.
Okay. Because he's talking billions. I mean, that's like 1/8 of the planet.
That's huge.
That is huge.
Sleep's so important.
That's a lot of people up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That's a ton. So we're going to learn more about that. Anyway, Raj, welcome to the program. How are you doing today?
Yeah, nice to be here with you guys. Really, looking forward to see how this one unfolds. And as you mentioned earlier, we're not going to hold anything back. We're going to go all out. And have some fun.
No need for that around here. Yeah. If we ever have a guest that actually freaks people out with what they have to present, I think I'll be stunned.
Yeah.
I mean, our audience can handle a wide range. So yeah, don't hold back.
Good to know that. Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like I should be on the couch right now and being, sort of with some psychiatric help and assistance, but I appreciate it.
But I always like to start these interviews just by getting a sense of who the person is, how they end up where they are right now. And I mean, it's kind of an obvious question, but did this all start because you had insomnia?
Well, this is where it gets the whole thing gets very colorful and interesting. I'll have to take you back to a bit of a backstory, kind of give you context. And if you can join the dots, or if you're having, if you're not quite seeing how things line up, just feel free to stop me and I'll join the dots. Yeah. So it all started when I was 3 years old, and my mother takes me to the nursery or kindergarten, as you say in America, and we get enrolled there. We have a look at the playground, have a look at the classroom, and then we end up in the library. And the first 2 books I ever pick off the bookshelf, or any bookshelf in this lifetime, was one book about dinosaurs and one book about planets. Right? So the Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad books, Thomas the Tank Engine, I didn't touch that for whatever reason, didn't seem to pique my interest. But these 2 books, the images have left such a deep imprint on my memory that I can remember it like it's yesterday. Literally. And the funny thing is that it's guided me more than my entire school education.
Really?
Yeah. And
I'm
you
not
might
sure if
be
that's
thinking,
well for you or poorly for the schools. I'm not sure which.
we'll see as this conversation unfolds. But basically, why the dinosaurs? Because as a young boy, I was interested in the subject of evolution. So, for example, when you have a crocodile, and then you get you have a dog, you have an elephant, you have a dolphin. There's this chain of sort of hierarchy of intelligence, but we never see how one animal becomes another animal because that's hidden behind the scenes, right? We just see the animal as it is, but there's a chain of evolution behind it that is invisible, that we don't see it. But then it got me wondering, like dolphins and elephants, they get on really well most of the time. They have a shared objective. They have a herd mentality. They communicate. As you go up higher up the chain, they have better cohesion, better cooperation, and they communicate better for an aim bigger than themselves. And I thought to myself, well, can humans do that? Should they do that? And of course, and we all know that humans, it can be whatever you want, right? It can be good, it can be bad, it can be a mixture, it could be whatever. And then the question came in my mind: can humans evolve their own brains then? Choice, can they go through a process, evolve their own brain and evolve themselves? And the answer is, of course, yes. And then the planets thing was like, we have these heavenly bodies out there, like Jupiter spinning at 47,000 kilometers per hour. We have Saturn with its amazing rings, Venus, Mercury, and so on, and Mars. Yet, what are they actually doing there? They're amazing. They've been there since the Earth has been here, 4.5 billion years. But what are they actually doing? Right? So when you look up, if you go to NASA channel on YouTube, right, you can have a look at the Mars rover, which is roving all around Mars to have, explore it. And you can see the sky is red. The ground is this rocky red, dusty substance. But there's no water, there's no plants, and there's no dinosaur bones of any kind. So there's me wondering, why is there an empty planet next to us, whereas Earth is absolutely teeming with life? From the sky, the birds in the sky, to the mountains, and all the animals that live in the mountains, and then the sea and the whales and the fish and the 8 billion humans on the land.
Yeah,
with all the food.
You and a bunch of astronomers, because they're all trying to figure out the same thing. Not only trying to figure out that, but they're also trying to figure out where can we find another Earth-like planet someplace in the nearby galaxy. And they still
exactly. So with all the food to support human life, the water, the minerals, the elements, that gold and all the rest of it, you're thinking, why is there an empty planet there, and yet this planet is full of life? So these were the kind of questions that boggled my little 3-year-old brain, if that helps give some context.
Well, it helps give us an idea of just how active your 3-year-old brain was.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah,
mine were just watching it in the night garden.
Yes. So that was when I was 3. I don't know if you want to know what happened after that in terms of sequence.
Yeah, I'm still not quite getting the connection to insomnia. I assume that it takes us there at some point, but dinosaurs to insomnia is not a natural connection. So
it's not. That's why I said at the beginning, it sounds a bit bonkers, like this whole thing. And I appreciate that. But what happened? I'll try to dial it in and compact it all so it begins to make sense. There's a pivotal thing that happened to me when I was 18.
Okay. When
I was 18, my mother, who's quite spiritually open-minded, she decides to go to India. And she asked me if I want to go. And I thought initially I didn't want to go because I thought it was full of poor people, and that's really arrogant because my ancestry is actually Indian. So for me to say that was like a silly thing to think.
Yeah.
Yes. The thing that made me go, believe it or not, was an Indiana Jones film.
Really?
Called The Temple of Doom. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because he goes to India, the Temple of Doom, right? And because he's an archaeologist, he's an anthropologist, he's a very cool character. It made me think like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do my Indiana Jones thing. I'm going to go to India and explore.
You pack your bullwhip and you're ready to go. All right.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of, it impelled me to go. I was open-minded. I was a bratty, obnoxious, rude teenager from London. Right.
Well, I mean,
I'm just being
actually, it doesn't even have to be from London. Just put teenager in there, and that's going to apply for up to at least half of them, and probably more. So you're not out of sync there, really.
Yeah, but the thing was, I had everything given to me, like all material things. I never had to work hard a day in my life, and I took it all for granted. I'll be honest. So I was quite bratty and obnoxious and rude. So I go to India and I meet an avatar. Like, you're familiar with the concept of an avatar?
Yep.
Yeah. So like on Netflix, Last Airbender, you have all this shape-shifting of the elements and all these powers. And then James Cameron, of course, brought this huge blockbuster Avatar to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And
Good movie, by the way.
Wider. Yeah, incredible story. And I thought all that was nonsense. I thought all that was just woo-woo nonsense and it's just for the films. And I go to India and I come face to face with a real-life full-power Avatar. And I'm like, this not... And he says to me, listen, son, you think you know something because you read a few school books, right? You know nothing. You don't know who you are. You don't know why you're here. I'm the one who brought you here because I saw the books you were looking at as a 3-year-old. And I'm like, what? No, you could not have known that. And he's like, son, Avatar, like us, he wasn't trying to be overwhelming. He just said, that's nothing for us. We know all this stuff. It's nothing. I'm like, what is this? Like, what are you talking about? And he said, basically, you need to learn why you're here. What, you have to understand and appreciate what happens when you die, how this earth was made, and you need to be humble. And I hated that word. Got to be humble. I just hated it. I don't know why, because I was obnoxious and I was proud and whatever. I was so upset by this because I just felt like I had been metaphorically slapped. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
But when they say you have to eat humble pie, it's almost like you have to backtrack, admit you're wrong and everything. And it's quite a hard pill to take, isn't it?
Well, especially
since
they weren't just making him eat humble pie; they were stuffing it down his throat.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So when he said, when he intimated all those things, I'm thinking to myself, this is tough. Like, if it's so important, why don't they talk about this in school?
That's the question that always gets asked about.
How is it my fault? Yeah. How is it my fault that I've learned the wrong thing in school?
Mm.
I didn't set the curriculum, right? I didn't set the education system. So how did I know what I was learning was wrong? So, yeah.
We say that all the time, don't we?
Well, it also adds a second question for me. The second question is, who says it's wrong? Where did the wrong come into this?
What can I say? It just boggles my mind. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. No clue. But he said to me, look, the reason avatars come on Earth, and Jesus was a great avatar, Buddha was a great avatar. You have these great beings who have a mission. They come on this Earth for a mission. Okay. And he said, the reason we come here is to remind humanity that the main things that the universe or universal intelligence really cares about, or God, call it God, whatever you want to call it, is unconditional love, compassion, kindness, wisdom, and patience. So if you're not living by those principles, or you're not aligning your life to that, you're missing out what it means to be a human. When they say things like this, I'm like, I'm just like, I'm blown away. I'm thinking, well, I don't know none of that. So I've been living a lie, basically. So my life is redundant and pretty useless. That's how I felt.
Understandable. I mean, that's pretty much what they were trying to make you feel. So, well done. You actually got what they were trying to get you to do. So that was something.
Yeah. So from there, I went 10 years. I went into monk mode.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And how did you do that? Did you stay in India for that, or did you come back to London?
I stayed in India for a while, just trying to think things over and observe that completely, the lifestyle over there is completely different. right? It's a shock to the senses. It really is, because it just overwhelms you at every turn. You know, you've got the extreme rich, the extreme poor, the crazy underpinning of spirituality everywhere. And people, you have the supreme God that certain people will understand, and you have all types of mini gods, or we call them devas, where people can understand smaller levels of God, and they worship that. And I didn't know what am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to focus on? I didn't know. So I came back to London, and then for 10 years, from the age of 18, 19 to 30, pretty much, I was in monk mode. So I shut off all TV, all radio, all newspapers, magazines, even friends, believe it or not, as strange as that sounds, because they were not on that self-exploration path.
Sure.
And they just thought, I was bonkers. So I had to make a decision. Like, no, I'm not messing around with girls. I'm not going to endless parties in Spain every summer or whatever. So I had to stop that, and I went deep into the most esoteric teachings of Vedanta, yoga, Kabbalah, Tibetan Buddhism, Sufism, which is the Islamic form of esotericism, and all these things. And I just had to find the truth for myself.
I'm still kind of sitting back in India with your impression of all of these different cultural elements all kind of weaving together. To be perfectly honest, a rather humorous idea comes to my mind. It's an old Monty Python where you have a bunch of savior types on every corner preaching to whoever's coming by. That's kind of like what you were describing. It sounds almost like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you think to yourself, you know, as every human being would at some point or other, whether you think about it yourself or you hit a struggle, a very, you know, severe change in life or an upheaval, you start wondering to yourself, what's it all about? Like, what, seriously, what is all this? Where do I fit in all this? What should I do? What should I focus on? What should I cultivate? You know, how should my vision inwardly be?
I remember the way I would frame the question to myself when I was asking those questions. I started asking them middle childhood. And the way I framed it to myself was, what the heck's going on here? Because it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, a lot of it seemed like a farce.
Absolutely.
It really did.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like even today, I'm a relationships coach for women. I've been doing that for the last 16 and a half years.
Wow.
So kind of, luckily I was able to reconcile all of this spiritual and philosophical wisdom and understand why people find themselves in the difficult, tricky relationship situations that they find themselves in again and again and again and again and again. Patterns, right?
Yeah, because they do play out. And after a while, you finally begin to realize you're the common denominator, and that really freaks you out.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. So luckily, I was able to spend some time to kind of homogenize or bring all of these different elements together with the underpinning of wisdom and philosophy, and to cultivate an inner vision that allows me to intuitively see the problems that a human being is facing.
Okay.
And it was very important to me because the avatar had such a big impact on me that it disturbed my entire thought process. And
well,
if you know, yeah, absolutely. If you've studied Joe Dispenza to any extent, I'm not sure if you have.
Oh yeah.
You
are the placebo.
Yeah, exactly. And if you studied these guys, Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, you know, they're all in the same kind of metaphysical musketeers, we call them metaphysical musketeers.
We're big fans here.
Yeah. And they talk about the electromagnetic field around your body. And of course, people keep on debating this. Do we have it? Do we not have it? Do we have it? Do we not have it? In yoga, they've always said we had it. We always had it. no doubt.
Yep.
And when you meet an avatar, their electromagnetic field, vibration, or influence is so huge, it just like catches everyone who comes within the range of their influence. And I just know that by being in his presence was enough to disturb my way of thinking. And he knew it. He absolutely knew that would happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have something like that, you get enough feedback that tells you, hey, I've got something like that going on here. I mean, it's not like it's hidden from you.
Yeah. But then when I look back, and I think no one else in my family has had that impact. No one else in my family or my relatives, or pretty much no one in my life has made such huge dramatic changes in their lifestyle, in their thinking, in their emotions, in their conduct, in their character, in their behavior. No one else has done it to the extent that I have suddenly somehow done it, which is, when I look back, is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. But Mum planted those seeds in the fact that she was quite spiritual. So she must have instilled some kind of openness to it for you. So maybe that was the stepping stone.
Yes. Agreed. So there was a seed of some kind of idea or some kind of energy. And when that's planted at the right time and given enough care and attention, then of course, you're right. It starts to sprout. Yeah. Yes. So to kind of move to your original question, which was about insomnia and how all this works.
And about 20 minutes ago, but that's okay.
Yeah. Sorry for that. So feel free to dial in any question at any point. No problem.
Hey, we've had interviews where I asked one question. That was the last question for the entire interview. So this is not,
really?
Of course,
So studying yoga, Vedanta, religion, Christianity, all these things, I wanted to do it. I knew I had to do it to understand all the parallels and all the similarities and the contrasts and variants between the religions. I understood that the thing that is common to all of us is breath. The breath. Simple as that. As simple as it sounds, the breath is common to all living creatures. So we all have an in-breath and an out-breath. And it's in that flow of breath that we have our entire beingness. Because without the breath, if you don't breathe for 4 minutes, you're gone. You can live without food for 40 days, without water for 4 days, but without breath for only 4 minutes. So then the question comes, if breath is the most important fuel for humans that runs every system in your body, muscles, respiratory system, brain, nervous system, immune system, endocrine function, it runs all of it, yet we never talk about it.
Well, we do here, but I get your point. We actually get a lot of people who talk about breath, but yeah.
For sure. But in the school system, for example, where kids should be taught, kids should be
are basically taught in the school system to hold their breath continuously.
Right.
But breathing helps your focus. It's like one of the first things you should teach them, because just by having that breath, it's just, you get that clarification.
Correct. And the fact that it's not taught as the very foundation of emotional well-being, and you can see in society what's happening. It's all going crazy, out of control. But if that was just taught from the beginning to kids as the foundational framework for wellness, as you said, focus, concentration, all those powers of the brain and mind, then society would be in a far better shape than it is right now.
Interesting how you can kind of break it all down to just take a breath.
Yeah, exactly. So by studying,
Sorry, no, I was just saying with my daughter, the first thing I do if she's getting overwhelmed, it's like, right, breathe 3 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. It's the first thing I do, because it calms your limbic system down.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all one of the really interesting and odd things about the way science labels our body. They describe the part of the nervous system or the aspect of the nervous system that gets out of whack and gets out of balance when you're feeling out of balance. They call that the sympathetic nervous system. Whereas when you're actually back in balance and it's parasympathetic, like what? You're not even going to be in sympathy with yourself? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So I was experimenting a lot with the breath and how it affects states of mind, how it affects sleep, how it affects your level of happiness in life overall, and how you can unlock certain regions of your brain that you'd never seen before, that you'd never realized you had this great capacity, because the school system keeps saying, like in all those Russian and American studies, oh, humans only use 5 or 10% of their brain. Yeah, but why, instead of keep saying that, why not show everyone how to use that other 90% potential?
Yeah, isn't it interesting? They always leave that part out.
Yeah.
Seriously, when was the last time you actually heard somebody say, here's how you're going to use the other 90% of your brain?
Well, yeah. And obviously, you know, people talk about, you know, the Rockefeller model, the wage slave 9-to-5 model, where you're hemmed in and you're controlled by a system that doesn't allow you to think beyond that, or they keep you distracted.
There's a reason for your education system and not learning breathing.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So by keeping you distracted, you get away from your own true power, because you're distracted with all this external stuff. And before you know it, you get trapped and you can't get your way back. You can't get back because now your consciousness is externalized. And the breath and thoughts are magnetic, and they have a pattern which it keeps compounding on itself the more you keep doing it. Because humans are creatures of habit. That's where it gets dangerous. Right? If you don't catch it soon enough and don't have that realization and epiphany soon enough, you're probably going to get trapped and you will die and be buried, and you will never have known that if you'd understood the science of breath, you could have transformed your life or changed your life dramatically. So this is, I know it sounds like, oh, it's a bit serious, but then again, well, why does it have to be like this?
Well, none of it has to be the way it is, but the way, if you want to know why it's the way it is, I mean, you mentioned the school system in Rockefeller. I mean, that's a great tie right there, because the school systems, both here in the US and there in the UK, were designed for one thing. That was to produce factory workers. Factory workers is how you enrich the Rockefellers. I mean, this is not a difficult chain of events to put together.
Yeah, exactly. And we're like, no, we don't. We're not following that. I'm sorry, because my conscience, like having met the avatar, it's on my mind all the time. And they say faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. I never understood that when I was a kid. But as I matured, I realized, oh, so there's this universal conscience that's talking to everyone. Wow. So what, is it talking to me? And yes, it's talking to everybody. If you listen, you don't have to listen. You can be distracted if you want. You can watch films and get bored. But I realized that, oh, I should listen then. I should listen, and I should listen, and I should listen. Then the seed of the idea of helping humanity in a way that will fulfill my mission here as a human being on this planet will be fulfilled. But if I chose to ignore that voice of conscience, I would be so off track by the time I'd reach 60 or whatever. There's no way I could fulfill it, because I've gone too far distracted. I can't pull it back. And I would have lost the glory of giving this back to the universe as my legacy on Earth, unfortunately. But luckily, as fate would have it, I decided to listen and listen and listen and listen and listen. And now I've been able to secure the methodology and the science to be able to explain to people easily and quickly that this is something you can use to overcome a lot of health issues and challenges and all things that you thought were overcomplicated, because the world makes it complicated. So I'll lead into the breath and into the insomnia in a moment, but people ask me all the time, Raj, we know you've not been sick for 25 years. You've never taken medicine. You've never had a cold or a headache or a migraine. You've not been to a hospital, had an X-ray or an MRI or an ultrasound for 25 years. And people ask me, how do you do that? How? You're always full of energy. You're always having, you're always having fun. You're always seeing, but in a constructive, wise way, right? And I said, it's so easy. Anyone can do this, right? You just need to know how to breathe to activate your brain power so you can unlock these hormones in the brain, which have all kinds of powers in them. Right, like endorphins. You've heard of endorphins. You've heard of these kinds of things. Yeah.
So is there a specific way of breathing? Because I know I used to be a mouth breather and I'm trying to breathe more through my nose now, and like mouth taping and things like that. And it's made a difference. But how do you unlock those hormones in your brain?
Good. Brilliant question. Brilliant question. It's through a sequence of breathing, and the 3-3, which is what we teach people, is the way to do it. We can show you if you like. A brief kind of, yeah, you do. Right. No. So, so this method, what it does in brief, it unlocks endorphins, which are pain-relieving hormones. It also unlocks serotonin and dopamine, which are feel-good, happy hormones. You're probably aware of those. Mm-hmm. It also unlocks what a lot of people don't know about, something called anandamide. Had you heard of that?
I have heard of it.
Oh, okay, you have, but you hadn't. Okay. So anandamide comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. Ananda means bliss, right? And mide means chemical or hormone. So all human beings have an ananda or bliss molecule in their brain. So if ananda means bliss and all human beings have a bliss molecule in their brain, that tells us that a human being is designed to be a happy being.
Interesting conclusion.
Yeah. Why would you have a bliss molecule in your brain if you're not designed to be happy? So this is where, drawing upon the 10, 20,000 years of yogic science helps us to understand, there's these hidden evolutionary mechanisms built into the brain of a human. So as well as that, it also activates, like what you were saying, Walt, earlier, the vagus nerve, which helps you regulate your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems.
Right.
Right. So if you're too much in the materialistic Western culture, too much sympathetic nervous system, meaning freeze, fight, flight, adrenaline, cortisol, fear, right? Inflammation problems happen when you're running around and you can never rest. You can never, relax. When you move into the parasympathetic nervous system, you can rest, digest, heal from trauma, heal from surgery, heal from injury, and you can, sleep so much better, deeply. As you know, the more deeper you sleep, the more energy you have when you wake up.
Finally getting over toward insomnia. This is good.
Yeah, exactly. So this method, it helps to unlock simultaneously all of these 5 parts, all of these 5 things that we just mentioned. That's why it has such a quick leveraged effect for most people, 95% of people that we've tried it with so far.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll do a quick. Yeah, sorry.
I'm curious. Are you familiar with a book called Breath by James Nestor?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. I mentioned it just because there was a woman I was seeing who had a copy of it. And I was thumbing through it and found it to be interesting. But I was also kind of curious, how much does it align with what you were taught by your avatar?
Very, very closely, actually.
It does? Oh, okay.
It is. Actually, I'll tell you a little nugget. It's not really a secret. Well, it is if you're not aware. James Nestor mentions in the book what's called the Shiva Svaradaya. Right? Shiva Svaradaya is one of the deepest esoteric texts that exists on the planet.
Okay.
He mentioned it, and I was surprised, and I was glad that he mentioned it, because I'd studied the Shiva Svaradaya for at least a decade.
Wow.
Yes. And when you read what is in there, you'll be blown away, because he reveals Lord Shiva, who's the king of yogis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see him. That's him there, actually. There.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lord Shiva. He talks about the destinies of human beings and why they are different, according to the vibration that comes through their nostrils. The life force, the life energy is made of vibrations. Everybody has a very unique relationship to the cosmos or to the universe. That's why we're all different, right? We all have different mindsets, different moods, different energies, different behaviors, different characteristics, right? Even though we're all human, we still have a very personal relationship with that energy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So he's able to calibrate the movement of the stars and the planets with the events that happen to an individual person.
It's almost beginning to sound like astrology.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And that dials back to my original impression of why do the planets exist in the first place? What are they doing? See, so it all comes full circle. Yeah. So James Nestor, you're right. He mentioned that, but still a lot of people, they haven't been able to connect the dots with, okay, the breath, and then you're talking about astrology, and then you're talking about human events. How do you pull this together? I don't quite get it. It's not an easy science to understand.
Well, it's not a direct line of sight either. It's not like this is really obvious. I'm going to draw this line from here to here.
Exactly. But I can tell you that if you develop your intuition enough and your focus and concentration, you can start to see why these things happen, which is fascinating. It's mind-boggling if you're able to spend enough time meditating and concentrating on these things like I do.
Well, if you spend enough time on this program too. I mean, this program originally started out talking about law of attraction and just kind of expanded beyond that. But after almost 2,200 episodes and probably a third to a half of them with special guests, you kind of get a sense for, if you just tune into what's going on intuitively, you're going to pick up stuff you hadn't picked up before. That's essentially what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's where the insomnia idea, that how do we make people feel well? How do we help them sleep better and deeper without meds, without doctor interference? Because in the NHS in the UK, I'm not sure exactly how it is in America. I'm imagining it's kind of the same. They will send you for endless neurological tests and consultations, and takes forever to get the test back. And then when you do get the test back, it shows nothing, but the person still feels terrible.
Well, the doctor feels great because he got paid a whole bunch, and the test got paid a bunch, and,
Exactly.
got a whole bunch, and yeah.
Exactly. So, we say, look, get away from the meds. And I know the big pharmaceutical industry is not going to like us for that. Get away from the meds, get away from the side effects, get away from the wasting of time and energy, because you could be spending that quality time with your family, which is far more important, instead of wasting months and months fearful of what a diagnostic test is going to tell you as a result. Like, why do you want to waste your life like that? Right? So So that's where we realize that if we can help people activate all these brain hormones and sleep well, they're starting to sleep within 60 to 90 seconds. So we'll do
when I think about it, because I can't say I always fall asleep right away, but I usually do. And I mean, when you fall asleep, you don't really have any sense of time. So you kind of lose track of, like, when did I fall asleep? But as I reflect back to, what would have happened the previous night, I did fall asleep pretty quickly. Yeah. So it probably was that quickly. I just never really said to myself, geez, I have a timer going. I wonder how long it's going to take me to fall asleep. But it makes sense. It does make sense that if you're in a good sleep ready state, you're going to go to sleep that easily. That's not actually surprising if you think about it.
Yeah.
I track my sleep from my ring. Yeah, I've got my Aura ring, and I've been tracking my sleep and doing a lot of breathing work around it, and the difference it does make to my sleep. And And my ring tells me if I go to sleep too quickly, I was too tired.
Interesting.
It gives me like a window of about 15 minutes to fall asleep.
So do you like consider your depth of sleep or quality of sleep by how you feel, or do you get influenced somewhat by what the stats are telling you on the tracker?
No, I'm sure I can tell the difference. So I've been recently, because I've got very small nose at the top, so I've been putting magnets on and stretching my nose out, mouth taping, and breathing more through my nose as my sleep, and I can tell my quality of sleep. I feel better. My migraines reduce. I've got more energy. So yeah, I can really tell the difference just through breathing correctly, or correctly anyway, through the night. And I do track it, see how much deep sleep I've got, how much REM I've got, and if I've had any breathing difficulties. And I don't like live my life by it, but I just find it quite interesting to go, oh, I'm not feeling great today, but actually I had a really bad night's sleep, or I had a lot of breathing issues. So because I'm also asthmatic, so I kind of piece it together and use it for that theory.
Very good.
And I suspect your husband actually appreciates it, because you like you described, you kind of tape your nostrils open, so you're not going to be snoring as a result. He's actually going to feel it as well. It's a good thing.
Yeah, he's probably very grateful.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great discussion, because we talk about this all day, every day, with people's sleep quality and how quickly they fall asleep, and what did they take maybe to help them fall asleep? Was it melatonin? Was it those who take prescription meds like Zopiclone and so on? What was the level of their cognition when they're awake? Like, what's the quality of their perception and their relationships with people and so on? So what we can do is a kind of compact session with you both, if you like, at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah, and it'll be pretty quick, and then I can walk you through like the physiological changes, and then you can tell me your answers. How does that sound?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you, Walt, practice any breathing as well, like she did?
Not formally. I mean, I do it when I meditate. There are times when I wake in the middle of the night for a bathroom break or whatever, and so I might do some breathing just to get myself back to sleep, but it's usually fairly quick. So, yeah.
Okay, great. And have either of you tried the Wim Hof method?
No.
What is that? The cold?
Yeah, that's the guy, the Iceman. He does all the
every time I go for a walk around the building. Yeah. He's done a great job of helping raise awareness for these things. However, we've got so many clients who just hate the idea of cold exposure, like going in a cold plunge or a cold shower. They just won't do it. Well, what's the country I've forgotten? They put their babies out for their naps in their prams in the snow because it builds their immune system.
I can understand.
Good for the lungs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what we'll do, I'll ask you both if you can close your eyes for a moment. And just get a sense of how you're feeling. And if you can tell me, with your eyes closed, how you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing, what would you both say?
8 or 9.
8 or 9, okay.
I'd probably say about an 8.
An 8, okay, great. And if you could both check your nostril flow for me, so what you can keep your eyes closed if you want, or you can keep your eyes open, whichever. It's fine. You block your right nostril, breathe in and out a few times up your left. And then switch over to the other side, block the left, and breathe in and out of the right. And can you tell me roughly what the ratio is? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Is it 70-30? You could tell me.
Mine's about 40-60, but that's largely because I was in an auto accident that shifted my nose. So I actually have more breathing space in my right nostril.
Oh, did that create a deviated septum or anything like that? Or just
quasi? They didn't actually diagnose it as that, but they said you're kind of leaning that direction.
Ah, interesting.
So I'd say mine was 70-30. It was definitely more blocked and shallower this side, on my right side.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And you said you put certain things in your nostrils to help expand it.
No, I put it's tape with little magnets on, and then you put this device over the top and it just pulls your nostrils out.
Yeah. Is that what Alex Formosa uses?
I think so.
Yeah, might be. You know, the sales influencer guy. No, it's okay. I think he wears that because he has sleep apnea, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, so yeah, you would do. It's good for sleep, and I also do it when I'm training.
Yeah.
So I can breathe through my nose when I'm training.
Interesting. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so for this 3-3 method, you breathe in 3 parts through the nose like this, like you're sniffing a flower, and then you breathe 3 times out of the mouth like this. So the third ha is a bit elongated. So you got to open the mouth a little wider so we activate the vagus nerve with the ha expiration. So it's more like a ha, yeah, like a ha. So open the mouth a bit more. There you go. That's better. Have you got it as well? Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, we're going to do it for 1 minute together. So it's a very compact session. Okay, I think she's feeling it already. I think
I am.
Was it Anne Marie? Did you say your name was?
Yeah.
Anne. Okay, perfect. Walt, are you feeling it? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling aerated. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Excellent. I could just see the expression on her face. She went really smiling.
I was kind of getting a bit of a head rush, but I could certainly feel my head getting lighter, and I could see white light and everything. So,
wow. Would you say you're very spiritual?
Yeah, probably. I've been like it since I was a kid, and I'm very intuitive.
Yeah, I know. We know Walt is already off the planet, but
yeah.
All right, so we'll do it for a minute.
I used to be. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do it for a minute together with the eyes closed.
Okay.
And Walt, if you could have your chin up slightly so it's a bit more perpendicular, to the ground, that'll be perfect. And we've already got that. So on a count of 3, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Keep it nice and gentle and soft. Okay, stop there. Okay, just relax. Keep the eyes closed. Just relax. Just gently observe what's happening within. Just relax. And when you're ready, maybe start with Walt first. Can you tell us what you notice and how you feel? Can you hear me, Walt?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us what you notice and how you feel?
What I noticed? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Okay, cool. Sorry, my bad.
Well, actually, the first thought that came to my mind while we were in the middle of it was teenagers who like to try alternative drugs should try this instead. It's a way to get high.
Hell yeah.
And it's natural, which is even better. Yeah, I felt, well, anytime that you oxygenate yourself, you're going to feel a rush. And that's what I was feeling throughout. My head, my shoulders, my chest, down, all the way down. It was like it's an oxygenation rush. I don't know how else to describe that.
And when you say all the way down, you mean down to your legs or your feet, or?
Oh yeah, all the way to the toes. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Now, part of that I attribute to the fact that I've been doing enough meditating that I'm actually in tune and in touch with everything down to the toes. So that's kind of important. But yeah, I was feeling it throughout, and I still feel it throughout. Now, I was feeling it more in the head and shoulders, but I was feeling it pretty much everywhere.
Excellent. And did you notice any pulsations or gentle sensations around the forehead or above the head, or any sort of non-local sensations anywhere?
I felt a bit of a pressure in the forehead.
Okay.
I can't really describe anything more than that.
Okay, great. Anne-Marie, what did you notice?
So, I had that wonderful head rush that Walt was referring to, which was pretty awesome. But I almost felt like a pop, you know, when it just like, and now I just feel like really clear, and I feel like I've got, I want to say ready Brett glow, but that's probably a British old person thing, but it's almost like I've got this kind of thing around me, like a
aura, electromagnetic.
The aura, yeah, but yeah, it's the aura, and it's, yeah. So I feel that, and I definitely feel a lot clearer. I feel more focused. And yeah, no, I do feel a lot better, certainly a lot clearer, and less congestion in my body, especially, as Walt said, the top path. I have my feet crossed, so it didn't hit my feet, but I certainly feel it the top half of my body.
Okay. And since you mentioned the sort of nose area, do you feel does it feel a little more lighter around the sort of nasal area or the sort of sinuses, anything around there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the whole of my head now feels clear.
Right.
Like from my brain to my sinuses to my ears.
Amazing. Incredible. Okay, and Walt, did you notice your heart rate slow down a bit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because when you get the oxygen going like that, the heart wants to take advantage of it and pump it through the body.
Okay. Anne-Marie, did you notice your heart
I
rate
didn't
slow
notice
down?
that. I didn't notice that, but that's because I had everything going on in my head. Like my head was expanding.
Yeah. Okay. And Walt, did you notice the sort of mental chatter? We also call it the monkey mind, sometimes the ADHD mind with racing thoughts. Did you notice that slow down?
I went through a series of mirror work mental exercises a number of years ago, and I pretty much shut the monkey brain down, so I don't experience that anymore.
Right. Interesting. Do you see how?
I didn't have any voices in my head chattering, telling me what I had to do in about 5 minutes time, and when I finish and do this to the kids and get ready and let the dogs out. I didn't have any of that internal chatter going on for once.
Right. And that was pretty quite a marked decrease in that mental chatter, would you say?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Walt, you said you felt, I think that's an 8 or a 9 earlier out of 10. What would you say you feel now?
Probably a solid 9 at this point.
Okay. Excellent. And do you see how this can help people fall asleep, like if they're in a restless state?
Yeah.
I don't do this 3-3 method that you were describing, but I mean, just from deep breathing, I can tell that I go to sleep fairly easily if I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm interested to see what happens if I try the 3-3. I obviously haven't tried that yet, but I'm curious to see what happens because I suspect it's going to work pretty well.
Anne-Marie, what do you think? How do you feel out of 10?
I probably feel a good 9 now, whereas I was an 8 before. And I think what I also liked about it is I had Reiki recently, and my Reiki lady noticed that I breathe in more than I actually breathe out. And I felt that was more even. I was probably actually getting more breath out. So that was a good exercise to even my breathing as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
Very good. So do you get a sense of, Anne-Marie, if people can use this for sleep, do you get a sense of how it could help them fall asleep a little easier?
For me, I felt more like excited and invigorated. To me, I thought it would be really good for focus. I'd have to try it when I go to bed. But I think because I had all these sensations going on, and the like popping of my head and the clear and then the aura, it felt like, oh, there's all this cool stuff going on. So I wouldn't want to leave it.
Yes, you can do it slow. A tip for you, if you do it a little slower when it's time to go to bed, you'll find that it can help you relax.
That I think that would probably massively help.
Yeah.
I think this probably would be a more powerful modality, I guess you might call it, than what some people do. Some people say, take your attention away from screens so you don't have blue screen and all that kind of stuff. There are a number of other things that people do to relax themselves. This would probably do more than all of them combined, I would think, just because of what it's doing physiologically with your body, not to mention what it's doing emotionally, spiritually.
Correct. Absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
It makes total sense to me. Of course, I'm a little bit whacked, but nevertheless.
And that's why we love you.
Well, I'm proud of it. I mean, I don't hold it back. I just lay it out there. I am whacked. That's all there is to it. Deal with it.
So now you get a sense from this, compact session, how we open the doorway for healing and transformation. So people ask me all the time, I want to have what you have, and I want to give it, but there's certain steps and a little bit of preparation to lay the groundwork, enable to get long-term results, positive results. So I have to walk them through a little bit, clean up the diet if possible, get off if you can.
Always a good idea.
The red meat and those things. Try to have a bit more of a plant-based diet if you can. Exercise for at least 30 minutes a day, we recommend. If you can do 45 minutes or an hour, fantastic, if you can. We also recommend that keeping positive, don't have negative energy draining people around you.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's really huge.
Because as kids grow up, they learn from their role models of parents. They don't do what they say, they do, or they become what they are. They psychically osmose the energy of the parent into themselves.
Yeah, if you ever want to know what a kid's parents look like at the kids.
Yeah,
the kids will show you what the parents are like. You don't have to ask them anything.
Exactly.
Don't look at mine.
So as you were saying, Walt, it makes total sense to you when you lay the groundwork for this neuroplasticity or theta brainwave state. It's easier now to make positive suggestions and coaching for people to make a deeper
sure.
transformation if they want that.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. That does.
Mm.
I'm glad we finally got that. I wasn't sure if we were going to get it in within the hour. We just kind of sneaked it in, so that's a good thing. Well, and I get it. We had to lay the foundation. We had to lay the groundwork for, how did we ended up getting to this particular point. We had to go through the avatar, right? The avatar had to play his role so that you could be doing your studying and take us to where we are. It makes sense. That's fine.
Exactly.
And you have this. You have this available as a program.
Yes, so it's an entry-level program. People can find it on 33insomniahack.com. 33insomniahack.com. They can find it there. There's a whole bunch of testimonials from the NHS, Oracle, the software company, Barclays Bank, many independent psychologists from around the world. They love it because it helps with ADHD, stress, anxiety, insomnia, other sleeping disorders. People get off the Zopiclone and the melatonin when they use this, and all the anxiety blankets and the heavy drapes and all those things they thought they had to have. They can start to kind of wean themselves away from those things with this method. So
I would think what would happen is you don't even necessarily have to wean yourself off of it. I think the other things would probably just kind of fall to the wayside if you get good results with this. You just wouldn't be interested in pursuing them anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
that mirrors what my own experience is. The things I used to do, I it's not like I had to give them up. It's just I didn't want them anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful time, I think, in humanity, because we have so many great developments like AI, neuroscience, smartphones, social media, all these great technologies. But you think about, do people actually feel better, though, for all this diagnostic equipment, cancer research? I have to be careful when I talk about cancer because TikTok is going to ban you for saying be a big C. But I want to talk about cancer because after all these billions and billions of dollars have been spent on research, people still don't have a cure for cancer.
Yeah.
Right? But we know, and as you guys also know, that if you can reverse acidity in the blood, which creates inflammation, which creates all physical pain, and alkalize the bloodstream with the breath, you can quickly elevate yourself out of lots of diseases.
Yeah, it's a very simple approach. You don't even have to take anything in order to make it happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, obviously we've used our hour, so we need to kind of wrap things up. We do have certain habits that we have engaged in here on the program that we like to wrap things up with. First and foremost, you describe for people how to find the introductory course, but how do people find you in particular?
How do they find me? So yeah, they can Google my name. My name's Raj Khedun. I'm sure you'll have that in the notes, or it's in the intro that you've kindly written up. So they can find me. Business phone number is online. WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp message. We get WhatsApp messages all day, every day.
Okay.
Email info@keepfitkingdom.com. It's the easiest way. LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We're pretty much everywhere.
So it isn't so much where can we find you, it's where can't we find you? That's probably the shorter question to answer, right?
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, the World Health Organization said, about 2 years ago that insomnia affects 800 million people globally. But I spoke to a doctor who runs 2 Royal Free hospitals here in London, and he told me, Raj, it's not 800 million, it's 1 billion minimum. And I said, what? Said, yeah, it's 1 billion people minimum. I'm saying, oh dear, it's way bigger than what we thought.
I love the way we think about things too, because 800 million is actually 80% of 1 billion. It's not all that far away, but you say the word billion, it's 1 billion.
Exactly. It's a tenth of the world's population. And he said, but look, if you can help these people do it naturally, this could really have a dramatic effect on the world as we know it. So then I realized how how necessary it was to meet the avatar. Because I'm just an ordinary kid from London. I'm no one special. Right? But to have that encounter has made me realize, oh dear, this life is not here by accident. This is for a reason. It's a reason for everything. And then I began to realize, oh dear, it's me who's going to do this. Oh shoot. It scared the hell out of me, because I was the kid in school. He didn't want to even put his hand up to answer the question in case I got it wrong. And then everyone started giggling at me. I was that kid. But now I can't. I have to do this. There's no question.
You don't even wait to raise your hand. You just go. I like it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said we have 3 different things we like to do to wrap things up. That was the first one, to ask people, ask you how people can reach out and find you. And I'm glad to hear you like to hear from people. So that's a good thing. Number 2, I like to go to Anne-Marie and get her take on how she ties the whole thing together. Because as we mentioned earlier, she's a former listener as well as being a co-host now for 4 or 5 years, something like that. And she has that listener's perspective. So I kind of like, if I want to gauge what the listener is saying, I listen to Anne-Marie. That's my way of understanding how the listener is absorbing what it is that we're talking about. So Anne-Marie, how are you going to tie it together today?
See, I feel a bit selfish now because I've been doing a lot of work on my breathing. So I've just taken it from my perspective this time.
Well, that's all right. That's fine.
But I found it all like really interesting. I loved the whole avatar, having that encounter, and then the spiritual part, and then breathing it into your body and finding that, of course we all breathe, but we all think we're breathing properly anyway. And I know certainly over the last 6 months to 8 months that I've changed my breathing, and the difference that has made. My asthma is better. I am getting like less colds. I've kind of linked my migraines a bit to my sleep. And improving my breathing is improving my sleep. So I've noticed in the last sort of 6 weeks that's kind of helped. So that I found that whole breathing exercise quite freeing and spiritual, and how that can make you feel so much better, increase your focus, how it can increase your well-being. But I loved the other things that you said, Raj, about, your unconditional love and your compassion and the other pillars that you had. So I just thought, just putting it all together and just try those exercise readers. Go back 10 minutes on the podcast and just try the breathing and see what you find and how you feel.
I think we just had Anne-Marie lose the connection there. So fortunately, I think we picked up most of the messages, so that was good. I'm sure she'll, once the computer settles down at her end, she'll be able to reconnect. But actually, what she was saying fits in nicely.
Did you lose me?
Well, we actually got most of what you said, Anne-Marie. Before the whole thing kind of froze up, we actually picked up what you said, so it actually worked out okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we're good.
Because I just got 2 donuts of doom going on again. There was nothing. It was just whirring. So apologies.
Yeah, just a lost connection. That's all right. But we got it though. Before the connection got lost, we actually got what you were saying. So that was good. So anyway, the last thing I like to do before we wrap up is I like to bring in something that I found, again, about almost around the same time Anne-Marie came on. I think it was a little bit afterward. I noticed something that after having done the show at that point for about 8 or 9 year period, I noticed that there was a large gap in the way that we now navigate this 21st century internet-driven world that we live in, with the smartphones and the technology and all that, because we now have ways where you guys can both be in the UK and I can be in the US, and we're having a conversation like we're in the same living room, which is really cool. I mean, that wasn't possible 30 years ago. Now it's every day, no big deal, and that's really, really great. And as a result of having all this technology available to us, we can create courses, we can do podcasts, we can write books, we can do all kinds of stuff. We can create coaching programs. We can do a whole range of things that we have all of us who want to be of service to others, we've learned to do through the various internet channels that are available to us. And we end up helping people, many of whom we've never met, never seen, and we will never will meet, never will see. And we don't even know how we help them, except that we kind of infer that we do. And that's the part that I noticed. I said, we don't get credit for that. Well, wait a minute. Hold on here. So, Raj, on behalf of those people you've never met, never seen, never will meet, never will see, who've been helping in ways you didn't even know about just by sharing your message and by doing what you're doing, on their behalf, thank you for what you're doing, because you're making a difference in this world.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You had great questions, and your dedication and commitment to these more sort of enlightened paradigms, shall we say, is very obvious to me. So thank you. I really appreciate
you have enough woo guests on, and you kind of get there. You don't really have a lot of choice about that.
Absolutely. No, you're both so well dialed in. I so appreciate that. Thank you. That's great.
Well, we appreciate it as well. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.